Hi, this is Bobby Brown, and welcome to another fucking podcast.
You kids with your loud music and your Dan Fogelberg, your Zima, hula hoops, and Pac-Man video games, don't you see? People today have attention spans that can only be measured in nanoseconds.
See, son, old legends never die. They just lose weight.
Like a legend and an out-of-work bum with a lot of life.
Hello, you crazy dirt fucker!
Body tight.
Hello, Hollywood! Hello, world! And hello, my loyal minions. It is good to see you, and it's always good to be seen. My name is Izzy Presley, and this is Metal Edge Magazine's another fucking podcast. And my guest today is Mike Dawson from the Carolla Show and the band The Smokin Kills. We're going to get to him in just 1 second. I know it's been a little while. We were off last week because, well, Izzy was traveling the country and brought back lots of my beautiful, delicious Michelob Golden Light from the land of 10,000 lakes. Hold on, I'm just getting this shared right here. Usually, hold on, I'm gonna unmute you, Dawson. Usually, I've got the longer intro for like for the summits, and gives me time to share the show as the intro is rolling. But because I do this alone, I played the shorter intro tonight because it's not a summit, and so now I have to do this while we're talking. How you doing there, Mr. Dawson?
I'm good, man. Just sitting here, listening to my mustache grow.
That's great. That is fucking great. Make sure you guys hit up all of the social media, Real Izzy Presley all the way across the board, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And of course, the show page is another effing podcast. Paul Gargano is not with us tonight. He did have scheduling issues, and this is actually he's not out with COVID for 4 weeks like last time. He had scheduling issues, but he may pop in if he has time. If not, we'll be back with I think we're gonna have a bunch of pre-recorded shows because he's getting really busy now that everything's fucking rolling again. So
thank God it's rolling again.
Right, exactly. T-shirts, of course, Teespring, hit that up. I might have mugs and stuff available soon too. Glassware, I guess you can do now. You know, why not sell as much shit as you possibly can? So Laurie from Australia can buy everything that I sell because he's pretty much the only one, but that's okay. We love Laurie from Australia. So Mr. Dawson, this is weird because I requested an interview with you, and we've talked about this before, years ago. And years ago. And I never heard back. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. And then I did a show called Fascination Street, and he was going through interviewing pretty much everybody from the Carolla Show.
Steve Owens.
Yeah, Steve. And he put us in touch. And then I reached out for punchlines and backlines, which I'm going to be doing in Nashville. Dawson's going to be with me in Nashville for Rockwood Pod. So if you come down to that, there's a lot of great stuff going on around there.
That's going to be a great weekend.
Oh, dude, I cannot wait, man. It is going to be fun.
First full weekend in August.
Yep, that's right. So we started the show called Punchlines and Backlines, which loyal listeners know about. And basically that premise is we take a musician who's never done stand-up. You had done stand-up once, I think.
Maybe twice, but essentially once.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, fuck it. Who cares, man? I listening to Carolla, just the shit like the 5 burritos and, I'm like, I got to know this guy. I got to know this guy. I have a feeling that we'd like each other. So I reached out and said, hey man, you want to come down and do stand-up comedy? And you're like, fuck yeah. And he forgot his guitar at the bar we went to.
Well, let's back up. Let's back up just a little bit because you reached out to me to do the podcast years and years ago. Mm-hmm. And then Steve Owens from Fascination Street hooked us up on email. And he said, hey, there's this guy. His name is Izzy. He lives close to where you live. You should do his podcast. And I said, okay. And then you and I went through 1 or 2 emails a week for about 6 months of scheduling, canceling, rescheduling, recanceling, rescheduling, and recanceling.
We did?
And then
I don't remember that.
Yes. We had agreed to do this podcast
Oh.
several times, and then I hit you up on a Monday night and said, "I'm sorry, bro, I can't make it happen this Tuesday." And then you're like, "No problem. We'll move it to another week."
Oh,
and then
okay.
that week came around. I hit you up on Monday again, and I said, "Hey, bro, I'm sorry. I can't do the podcast this week." And then the punchlines and backlines came up. And this was very smart of you, because little did you know that my rule with stand-up comedy is if somebody invites me to do 5 to 7 minutes on stage, the personal rule I have is I have to say yes. And when you asked me that, and you remember that conversation, yep, I'm there. What do you need? Tell me the time. I'll be there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're like, it's a no money gig. Are you cool with that? I'm like, every gig is no money gig.
Right. Welcome
I've been
to LA.
in radio for 30 years, bro.
Right. Well, yeah, and it's funny because like, to continue where I left off, so we ended up going to this bar that's no longer there across the street. There's a new bar there now. Haven't been there yet, which is shocking, being the alcoholic that I am.
And considering it's a football field from your house.
Exactly. But you forgot your guitar.
I got so drunk that night. It was a lot of fun. It was an amazing bar. They had karaoke that night. You and I both did songs. I did Neil Diamond's "Love on the Rocks" to a tremendous, and then you went up there after this. And you said, "I'm going to dedicate this song to Mike Dawson," and you did Faster Pussycats, "House of Pain." And I'm standing at the bar singing at the top of my lungs right along with you. And, this bar was packed with 23-year-olds.
Yep.
And we were the weirdest people in the place. And then the next morning I wake up and I'm going through my, a lot of people do their life check before they leave the house. Keys, wallet, weed, cigarettes, lighter.
Yep.
I do my checks in the morning. Okay. Do I still have my ID? Where are my credit cards? I had a guitar last night. Let's go find that.
Yeah, because I got that message.
I call you frantically. "Hey, dude, you live a football field from this bar. I need you to go there right now."
I just remember the message was, "Please tell me you have my guitar." And ironically, I found out later on that night that yes, it is at the bar. So we met at the bar for Bloodies, and 13 hours later, we're the best of friends.
Yeah, the way two discovering alcoholics do it.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, we should. I mean, obviously, the main reason I did want to have you on is to talk about the band and talk about the record. The band, of course, is the Smokin' Kills, and I mean, it's the cat's out of the bag now. That, according to one of my close personal friends, you finagled your way into that one.
Finagled. That's a new word.
I said, no. He asked. He's like, "Oh, okay, there you go."
I asked.
The band is called the Smokin' Kills. We just had our first rehearsals with me this week, just playing rhythm and playing backups. The album is called The Last Honky Tonk Hero, which you have been working on for a while.
About 2.5 years now, man.
Yeah. Is that when you started writing? Did you have songs already for the record? Or were you writing as you went?
I had a bunch of songs written and ready to go. I hadn't performed and played, a solo acoustic show in years and years and years because I just wanted a band again.
Yeah.
The camaraderie of just having a band is one of the greatest feelings in the world. And you only know this feeling is if you've ever been in a band.
Right.
And I was tired of playing solo acoustic. I'd write songs here and there, but you know me, Izzy. I keep these yellow legal notepads all over the house.
Yep.
And as soon as something hits, grab a notepad, start writing songs, try to place it to some chords. And so, yeah, I had these songs already, but it really didn't come to fruition until, and this is an interesting point. It was Shooter Jennings and his band was playing at the Troubadour in Los Angeles on November 17th, 2017. And I bought 2 tickets 6 months in advance. And a friend of mine was going to go with me. And that friend of mine couldn't go. So I tweeted out, hey, I got 2 tickets to see Shooter Jennings at the Troubadour night. One of them is up for grabs. Just be cool. I don't want your money. You can buy me a beer. I'll be the guy outside who looks like me. A guy named Tyler Kershaw showed up. And Tyler and I met outside the Troubadour. We walk in, we go get a beer. And as we're waiting for the show to start, the bass player for the band, Ted Russell Camp, Shooter's bass player, is walking the floor. As I found out later, that's his pre-show ritual. He likes to walk the floor, get a feel of the vibe, mix amongst the people he's about to play
Yeah.
with. And I love that. And
Yeah.
I'm going to adopt that myself.
Well, hold on. You had kind of been stalking him at this point, weren't you?
I have been stalking Ted Russell Camp since 2006. To be quite honest, we can get into that.
Yeah, we should.
That first night. So when I moved down to Los Angeles up to Los Angeles from San Diego, it was 2006. Got the job with the Adam Carolla show. We'll get into that later.
Yep.
And a friend of mine, Shyla Morrow, who ran like a country rock marketing firm called Sin City with offices in LA, Nashville, and Austin. She would put on shows at the Mint every few months. And I'd love going to her shows. And one time, as soon as I moved to LA, she said, hey, Shooter Jennings is playing the El Rey Theater. It's a show I'm involved with. Your name is at the door. Go to the show. I said, fantastic. So this was back before Uber. Remember that?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah, I had to take a cab to the El Rey Theater. And walk into the El Rey Theater, and I have never seen so many dope smoking cowboys in one room in my life. And I look around the El Rey. I'm seeing cowboy hats and joints all over the place, and I'm like, I'm home.
Yeah, right.
And so that night, 3 bands played. Shooter Jennings headlined. Ted Russell Camp plays in Shooter's band. The band who middled was Ted Russell Camp's band that he fronts. And the band that opened featured Ted Russell Camp on bass. And I saw 3 bands play, but I was looking at one dude. I'm like, that's my guy. That's the guy. He knows something. I'm going to find out what he knows.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to make that guy my friend. And so for the next decade, I would go to shows that I knew I was going to enjoy. I didn't just go to shows to stalk Ted Russell Camp.
Well,
I did make sure that I was walking down the hall to the bathrooms while he was walking down the hall to the bathrooms. And I could go, hey, Ted, what's up, man? Hey, I remember you. And we'd talk for a second, and that was enough. And so fast forward to 2017, and Ted Russell Camp is walking the floor, and me and Tyler are having a beer, just our first meeting, getting to know each other. And I found out that Tyler's a drummer and da-da-da-da. And Ted comes over. I beckon Ted over, and he comes over to say hi. And I introduce him to Tyler. And Ted and I were friends at this time. He had done my podcast, Front of House, 2 times at this point. We were developing a friendship. Mm-hmm. So Ted comes over, I introduce him to Tyler, and right after meeting Tyler, first words out of Ted's mouth are, so you guys in a band? And I look at Tyler with gleeful anticipation, And I asked Tyler, well, are we? And Tyler goes, yeah, we are. And that was when the band started at the Troubadour on the 10th anniversary of the release of Shooter Jennings and Hierophant, Black Ribbons. And it's a good way to go. So I had all these songs written to answer your first question. Most of these songs were written. Some songs were half songs, but I had at least 5 songs that were finished and ready to go. And Tyler was able to put together a really good group of guys. We had Tim Hutton on bass to start with. We got Kevin Fosmark on guitar, and these guys had always played together. And so essentially it was Tyler's job to build a band around me.
Copy.
And then I came in with the songs, and then everybody kind of worked out their parts. And then we did that for, a couple of years. And then there were rumblings of, hey, dude, we really need to do a record. And then that just started to come together.
There you go. Oh yeah, because I forgot at the top of the show, in the words of the great Don Jameson, to hell with our livers. So is it, at what point did you bring Ted into the mix?
Ted was appearing for the second or third time on my podcast, Front of House.
Okay.
And Ted said during the interview that he is producing other bands. And then all of a sudden, my head's out of the interview. I'm like, wait a minute. Right. We're about to work on a record.
Yep.
This guy produces. He's my guy. And so the interview kind of fell apart for a second when I went, hey, man, I'd rather this happened a little differently, organically, but you want to produce my record? And we talked about it, and Ted agreed that we could talk about it.
Yeah.
He agreed, yes, I will produce your record, but still negotiations have to be made.
Of course.
But it was the best part of that. So Tim Hutton, our original bass player, his father is Danny Hutton from Three Dog Night. The Three Dog Night bass player passed away, unfortunately. And Tim knows all the songs and loves to play with his dad. So Tim, whose other job was being the bass player for Sugar Ray.
Oh, wow.
Had to now put Sugar Ray on the back burner so he could just simply play bass for Three Dog Night.
Right.
And of course, where does that leave the Smokin' Kills? There is no third on that list.
Right.
So we not only needed a new bass player, we needed a producer. And I told everybody, look, Ted plays bass. At the very least, he can play bass on the record. And so we did our first full band rehearsal one night over here in the No Oasis. And we play through some songs. We play some stuff for Ted, a couple of demos, and play some live stuff because everybody's got their instruments and we're just figuring it out. And Ted all of a sudden gets silent and he gets into that thinking man pose. And he's like,
oh, yes, I've seen that pose.
And he sits there for like a good minute and a half. And we're all kind of just looking around it with bated breath. What is he going to say? He's thinking about this. This guy's serious right now.
Yeah.
It's silence in the entire rehearsal room. And then Ted says, here's what I want to do. I want to join your band.
So he offered, you didn't even ask him. He just said, hey, I'm in the band.
He goes, we'll make a record. We'll play some shows. We'll have a good time. And at that moment, I needed a forklift to keep my chin off the floor. I was more blown away in that moment than by anything else in my life. Like, holy shit, this guy wants to be this. I'll tell you, kids, stalking pays off.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Stalking does pay off because now I'm in the band.
Yes.
Here's Lori from
Good one.
Australia. And obviously my Canadian folks aren't here because the Canadians are playing right now, so they can. So Scotty and all the other Canadian fuckers are not here watching the fucking hockey game. Lori wants to know, where did the name come from?
We were playing a gig. We didn't have a band name, but we had a band. And there's a great band that you should look up out of Nashville called the Vagabonds. They're a great Southern rock and roll jam band outfit. Well, we had connections through them, through the Adam Carolla show, through Chris Loxamana and his band. And
Loxamana, very fucking talented motherfucker.
Absolutely. And we were invited to be the opening act on one of their shows in San Diego. So I pitched it to the band. I said, hey, are you guys ready? Let's find out if we're really a band. Everybody's getting in my truck. We're driving to San Diego. We're playing a show, even though we've only rehearsed like 5 times. We're playing a show. We're going to hang out. We're going to watch the headlining band. And then we're all going to get back in my truck and we're going to drive back home 3 hours. And if we can do this, we're a band. So we get out there, good conversation all the way down. It's when these guys introduced me to the music of Steel Panther on the way down.
Oh, nice.
And so we're listening to Steel Panther songs the whole way down. I'm cracking up. These are guys who have spent a lot of time on the road. They understand what being a good road musician is all about.
Yep.
Cheerful, always joking, and never complaining.
Yep.
And we get through this thing. And so 5 minutes before we're supposed to go on stage, somebody says, how do I introduce you guys? And I had been going around in my head. And at this time, the band was called the Smokin Kills.
Yep.
I found out later there's some tech, what's the
techno house music.
There's some techno band in the UK called the Smokin Kills. And I'm like, okay, so we can't do that, but that's fine. Anyway, guy says, what do I introduce you as? And I go, we're the Smokin Kills. And I just thought of it just then. And it just stuck. And now it's the Smokin Kills, because that one we got the website for.
Well, it's so funny because I did a read for I was trying to be in this part in this fucking movie or whatever the fuck it was, and the role, and it's ironic that I didn't get this because I mean, fucking, the long hair, ponytail, fucking the work shirt, yada yada yada. You were playing the stage roadie guy, and basically the line was, it's like, all right, you guys are on. What's your name? You don't have a fucking name. What's your name? Come on, let's go. It's the same fucking story. I've never heard the real life story of that. Oh shit, we got to play right now. We got to think of a name right now. And
right.
The name,
but it's obviously a tongue-in-cheek thing.
Oh,
obviously. Yeah. Smokin Kills, but it hasn't yet.
Right. But there's the other side of it is we're the Kills and we smoke.
That's the point. That is what is meant by the name. We're the Smokin Kills. There's a band called the Kills. Yeah, fuck the Kills, dude.
Yeah.
We're the Smokin Kills.
So you're saying I got the gig because I smoke?
No, you got the gig because you're a good guitarist. You live a few miles away and you're available. And you're Izzy Presley.
Well, I'll take
you
that.
Wouldn't have
I
this
blush
gig
easily
if we did not have the friendship that we have.
Right.
Because I've been together with these guys since 2017.
Yeah.
And it's not like I can just bring anybody in. And I had, big talks with Kevin Fosmark, guitar player. And Kevin said 2 things. He said, 1, I love Izzy. He is the nicest guy in the world, and he's a good guitar player. But then he said, number 2, and most importantly, is you said it, Dawson. Having Izzy in the band means that I don't have to be a guitar player.
Yeah.
I can play guitar.
Yes.
And I can have stuff I do on my acoustic, but the overall presentation of the music is not dependent on my guitar skills. Let's be honest. I know 5 chords. I write clever lyrics. It worked for Tom Petty. Why can't it work for us?
Well, it's funny because I know 6 chords. So I got you by a chord.
One-upper, dude.
Sledgehammer checking in says, congrats on the gig. Lori says, just don't wear your tights on stage. Those have been sold long ago there, Lori.
Yeah, that is a hard and fast rule, though.
Yeah.
No tights on stage.
No mankini, no whatever. Speaking of No Oasis, what is sitting at the No Oasis right now, which also brings you the first half of the show, Beater Amplification. That's 2 E's, beateramplification.com. Yes, you probably noticed if you're watching the video that the beater is not behind me, but these things are badass. 100 watts of testicular fortitude. Yeah. Pull 2 tubes, you got yourself a 50. Yeah. Hand wired, hand built. Yeah. Oh, these things are so badass. Just amazing amps. They're built out of Mankato, Minnesota. Fucking great. Hit them up, beateramplification.com. It's 2 E's, beateramplification.com. Hit them up on Facebook as well, and keep your eyes peeled for those Izzy Presley. I think it's going to be the TCB1 is going to be my signature head. So, if you want a combo, you get a combo too. And our good friends over at Mackie. You want to get into podcasting, you want to get into home recording, hit up our good friends over at Mackie, MACKIE. Hit up that studio bundle, a very affordable way to get into it. Give you everything that you need, mics and interfaces and cords and headphones and programs, all that shit, everything you need. MACKIE.com, Mackie.com, the studio bundle. So
Izzy, the other thing that you left at my house is your beautiful Fender Telecaster.
Oh, no, the Les Paul.
You left
the Les Paul.
I gotta change that Craigslist musical instruments North Hollywood, San Fernando Valley ad, because I have one of those for sale right now.
Oh, funny. Did you put in there used on stage with Sir Alex Kane from Life, Sex, and Death, Enough's Enough, and Stars?
As I said, I gotta I don't know what you're talking about, man.
So you brought Ted in, or Ted brought himself in. So how soon Ted is a fucking musical genius. He's got a great musical mind. So at what point does he start diving in and going, okay, you got this, but maybe it should be like this, and start,
right away. The first thing we did after the initial, hey, everybody meet Ted, holy shit, Ted's in the band. The very next thing we did is we just started scheduling me and Ted's sessions. So I would go over to Ted's studio, the Den, and brought a guitar, sat down, and just started live playing him the songs.
Okay.
And I'd play the songs, and he sat there and wrote down the lyrics and took notes, and then we took each song, and this took months of going through each and every song. And Ted went full on music director, and he's a fantastic songwriter.
Yeah.
With Ted's help, the songs that I wrote actually became really, I got an ego, people who know me, but I'm also a realist. If something I do is subpar, I'll be the first to tell you.
Right.
What we've done with this record, thanks to Ted helping arrange these songs, and it's as simple as, hey, in that one song, your second verse, that should be your first verse. Simple stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then other, polishing up. How about this instrumental introduction into the song? Things like that. And so Ted and I went through every song we wanted to do on the record. And at the time we had 10. And we went through 10 songs, 2 of them, I'm sorry, we went through 8 songs. 2 of them we had already recorded at Tim Hutton's studio,
Okay.
which is in Laurel Canyon. And what Tim Hutton did, and I believe it was Stax Recording Studios in Memphis. Tim went out to Memphis and he measured Stax, and he rebuilt Stax.
Oh, damn.
In Laurel Canyon. And if you look up pictures of Stax Recording Studio, Tim actually dug a hole and built the studio down into the ground.
Damn.
So that you could walk in at ground level and then walk up these little stairs. And then there's a nice little control area and then a window. And then you look down at the band playing. And so we were able to do 2 songs there. We polished them up as we went along, but the bass was there. And then we recorded, we went through 8 songs and then took them in the studio, as most people who are listening to this podcast understand. That's what you do. Then you take them in the studio,
right.
And then once you get bass, drums, basic guitar, and a scratch vocal track, then you take it back home. And thankfully, I think we are all incredibly lucky because we all have our own studios.
Yeah.
And so when COVID hit and it was frowned upon to be in the same room as another human being.
We followed those guidelines exactly as they said, by the way.
And I recorded all the vocals for this album in my studio. I had Kevin come over and cut guitar tracks in my studio. And we did it all on Zoom calls with TRK. And all he was getting was the same Zoom audio that you're getting right now.
Yep.
But he was still able to pick out if I hit a note, the feel of the thing, and still able to give very good direction over a Zoom call.
Yeah.
And that's,
well, it's amazing what you can do when you're looking at somebody, while doing that, so the Last Honky Tonk Hero, which is the name of the album, that was the last song that was written for the album, right?
Yes, it was.
What was the name of the album going to be before you did the Last Honky Tonk Hero?
It was either just going to be self-titled, or it was going to be other people, Another Southern California.
Okay.
Because that is the name of one of the songs on the track. And every song on this album really revolves around post-millennial life in Los Angeles. And so I figured, Another Southern California, that's a solid name for an album. We can do that. Yeah. And everyone kind of agreed. And then, the last record I did in 2003, I only had 10 songs on. And I wasn't happy with that. I feel like an album should be 11 songs. Maybe I have an affinity for odd numbers.
That could be.
Maybe I'm just an overachiever.
Dawson, so basically, if every song of the album is about California, that makes you the Skinner of the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
We are a Southern rock band in Los Angeles.
Yeah,
yes.
That's just the joke because band. Every single Red Hot Chili Pepper song is like, we get it. You're from California.
Yeah. Well, the other thing why you're in the band is you have to have 3 guitars in a band in order to be a Southern rock band.
Exactly.
The only exception to that rule is if 2 of your guitarists are Dickie Betts and Dwayne Allman.
Correct.
And although I like to make those comparisons, mine are not.
Correct. So you did do a pre-sale for the album. The pre-sale is over.
Oh yeah. The pre-sale was just to, for people who really want the vinyl. And I also needed money to pay for the vinyl. So a pre-sale was the way to go.
Yeah, exactly. And you paid for the vinyl. You did it. You sold enough.
I did not.
Oh.
However, However, a company called Vinyl, VYNL, bought 400 copies of the vinyl record.
Oh, that's badass.
And they pay, way less than you would charge in a retail store. But what Vinyl does is they have a list of people who pay a monthly service charge. And then every month they get 3, 5, 7 new records delivered to their house. Well, the people at Vinyl heard the record and said, this is something we can send to our people. We'll take 400 of them. And it's great because these 400 people didn't pick our record.
Right.
They're going to get delivered our record based on their previous musical tastes. And we're going to hopefully get 400 new fans.
So it's basically a modern day Columbia House.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's the tech world of Columbia House.
Absolutely. And I mean, one of the reasons that we are working so hard right now is because we have a gig coming up. Oh yeah. Two.
One that I'm really nervous about. The first one, we got this.
Yeah. I mean, but the second one hasn't been announced yet.
Hasn't been announced. We can tell people that it's in Austin, Texas.
Yeah, it is. 23rd. Yeah, it is. But let's talk about the one on the 10th that's coming up. Because that's going to be my first show with the band, which I'm very excited about. And thank you again. It's at South Bay Customs, and this is a really cool little fucking joint. It's a motorcycle custom shop, and they built a live venue inside the custom shop.
Yes, my friend Michael started South Bay Customs in El Segundo as a custom motorcycle shop, and he builds motorcycles. One time he was showing his shop to somebody who's like has the brain of John Taffer, and said, hey, by the way, if you just rented this place out as an event space, you could make a lot of money. And he just started doing that and was able to stop building motorcycles. And he would do, private events, live events, put on concerts. We had the band play there several times over the past few years.
Yeah.
And then COVID hit. And everybody had to shut down. And unfortunately for Michael, if he was still just building motorcycles, he could have stayed in business. He could have just still been there in his shop building motorcycles. But now he's a live event venue, and that's shut down. So he let us shoot music videos there. He had us play there. He's been such an awesome dude. And we shot a music video for Circling the Drain, which the single is out now. Search Mike Dawson and the Smokin' Kills Circling the Drain, and you'll be able to find it. We shot a video for that there. And I asked my friend Michael, how's it going? And he's like, I don't think we're going to survive out here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, let me get the boys together. Let's get a few more bands. Let me put 3 bands on that stage. Everybody pays a cover, and you can keep it all. So July 10th, we're giving back to somebody who was very giving to us. And it's going to be our band, and then Loxy, the aforementioned Chris Loxamana's band.
Yep.
And a great country rock outfit out of Orange County called the Fallen Stars that will blow you away. But yeah, that's in El Segundo, California on July 10th. Music starts at 7 p.m.
And if you know any of us and say, dude, can you put me on the list? There is no list because this is
there's no goddamn guest list.
No,
all of you assholes have been saying, oh my God, I need to see a show. Okay, pay a cover charge. Now's your chance.
Yep. Now's your you got to support your fucking favorite local bands. Well, now's your chance to actually step up to the plate and do it. Yep. There is no cover. And if you do get in without a cover, it's because I paid for you. Because nobody's getting in not paying a cover for this thing, because this is literally to help the venue.
All the bands are losing money on this, whether it's through gas money, time, paying for alcohol. We're all losing money, but we're doing it because we love live music and we love Michael at South Bay Customs.
There you go. And before we go to break here, also, I didn't say this at the top of the show when I was back home. I did some recording, and I got with my buddy Freaky Useless from Flip and Hairball. All of us Minnesota people know him as Randy Ingebrigtsen. And he laid down the drums and guitars on Ace Frehley's Speeding Back to My Baby. And he is actually part of the Ack family from back home. And then we brought our bass player from back home in, Matt Moline. He threw down the bass line. I went down, I recorded some more guitars. I recorded the vocals. His gal, Freaky's gal, Faith, is doing all the female backups on the song. And that should be available soon. So keep your eyes and ears out for that. Probably just a YouTube thing, nothing spectacular. So let's do this, Mike.
It'll still be spectacular.
Well, of
it'll
course
just be on YouTube.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll do a fun video too, where we recorded the shit on, and we put it all together from us separate places, whatever. Maybe we'll do something like that. Who knows? That'd be kind of fun. So, all right, so let's do this. Let's take a short little break. 2 and 2. We'll come back and we'll get into your history in radio. We'll get into Carolla. Maybe talk some Casey Kasem, talk some Kinky Friedman, talk some audio books, and we'll do it like that. This is Metal Edge Magazine's another fucking podcast. I'm Izzy Presley, the awesome Dawson himself. The voice of God, Mike Dawson, is my guest. We'll be back in 2 minutes and 2 seconds. Don't you go change it.
Vinny Tortorich here. Hey man, if you're a fan of Izzy, you might be a fan of me too. I'm the guy that gets people to lose a lot of weight. I have something free for you guys. This is no clickbait. Just go to VinnyTortorich.com and there's a big banner. It's a free PDF, how to lose weight. It's an intro guide to NSNG at VinnyTortorich.com. Go check it out exclusively for anyone who listens to Izzy Presley. Thank you.
RockstarLeatherworks.com is your home for badass rock and roll gear. Featuring 100% handmade leather bands, watches, cuffs, bracelets, and more, Rockstar Leatherworks has something for everybody. Whether you are going to the show or you are in it, you can find something to fit your needs. Choose from a variety of designs or create your own masterpiece. Their bands and watches are second to none. They also ship internationally. Who needs a stage to be a rock star? Check out RockstarLeatherworks.com.
Hey ladies, Sass Pants Designs will take that band shirt that everyone has and make it your own in a flattering, sassy, and simple way. There are one-of-a-kind tank tops, halter tops, lace-up tees, and tube top dresses already in stock. Check out the online store at sasspantsrocks.com and like Sass Pants Designs on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for special offers and custom orders. Use the code IZZY25 for 25% off of your entire order at sasspantsrocks.com. That's sasspantsrocks.com. Let Sass Pants make you the envy of the party.
Rockwood Saloon Authentic Apparel takes rock and roll fashion to a new level with their tees and tanks for men and women. They also make custom shirts, jackets, vests, pants, hoodies, beanies, and more. The Rockwood Graphics Department can design anything from your logo, t-shirt design, promo posters, band swag, and printed at great prices. From tour shirts and custom stage gear to killer threads for the street to the stage, Rockwood Saloon has it all. Rockwood Saloon, authentic rock and roll apparel for stage and street. World tour tested for quality, comfort, style, and durability. Check them out at www.rockwoodsaloon.com. That's rockwoodsaloon.com.
A reading from the Book of Paul, verse Animalize, chapter Under the Gun. Yeah, there's no speed limit where I'm coming from. Let's hit the highway, doing 69. Praise be to Paul.
And as I always say, praise be to Mike Dawson. And well, ironically, Mike Dawson is here with us. We're going to get into that in 1 second. For the second half of the show, brought to you by A&P Laser. That's aplasers.com. Or is it AP Laser? No S. You'll figure it out. Fucking laser.
I don't think your sponsors gonna be too happy with that, but carry on. By all means, carry on.
I think I fuck it up every week anyways. Laser engraving, you want to get something nice. I know Father's Day is just over, but summer's just beginning. You want your personalized mugs from when you're drinking on the lake, for when you're drinking on the ocean, when you're drinking in Dawson's garage, whatever. You can do it at aplaser.com. These guys are so good. They can even laser engrave a hot dog bun. I have seen it done.
You know what? Maybe I'll have them engrave the inside of my watch and say, to Mike Dawson from Mike Dawson. You're so good at being single.
That is fucking beautiful. These guys, oh, they're great. They are great. And our good friend, John Palumbo, johnpalumbodesign.com. You have a band, you have a business, you need a website, you need a logo. You have a podcast, you need a logo, you need a website. Hit up John Palumbo, johnpalumbodesign.com. He will take care of you. He is actually refining our logo as we speak because he is the great John Palumbo. And when you talk to him, when you call him by his full name, John Palumbo. Hello, John Palumbo. It is nice to talk to you, John Palumbo. He is
a two-name guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's funny, Dawson, it's funny where that came from. It came from Uli John Roth, because that's how Uli John Roth talks. Hello, John Palumbo. It is good to see you, John Palumbo. How are you, John Palumbo? So now it's like complete John Palumbo. And just a little update for everybody that is not in Canada. We are going to overtime right now. Going to overtime. 2-2. Go Habs. Oh, hello, Catherine Tappan. I'd marry you right now.
I know. I do have the game that you can't see. It's over there.
I got it right here.
Okay.
Wait, not so much right here.
Yeah. Not here. Or here.
It's right here. You are the voice of the books of Kiss and the books of rock and roll that we do. And fucking the delivery is so good.
Thanks, brother.
So yes, thank you. I just wanted to thank you face to face for that, even though I think I have already over barley based beverages. Before we get into everything else, before we took the break, we were talking about the song Honky Tonk Hero on how it was written after everything else, and and that's how the name of the record came about.
Yeah.
Where did the song come from, and when did it hit you? Like, dude, that's the name of the record.
So I was talking earlier about how there were 10 songs on the record, and that's not good enough. There needs to be 11 songs. And I had been kind of shuffling in my head about writing a song about what it's like to be a performing musician. From having to get there for sound check, having a guitar player or vocalist tell a sound man, I need more of me, and I was like, and so I was trying to write this song about just what it's like to play shows. And one day my good buddy Doug Laux came out, and Doug Laux, for those who don't know, is a former CIA case officer who infiltrated the Taliban and Al-Qaeda and disrupted a underground network of IED manufacturing and saved thousands of lives in Afghanistan, both American and Afghanistani. And Doug started calling me the last honky tonk hero. And when someone of that caliber calls you the last honky tonk hero, well, you take it.
Yeah.
And so that song that I wanted to write about being a performing musician turned out to be a song about being me as a performing musician. The first line I wrote to that song was the first line to the song. In the middle of the night, I'm a superstar. But when the last call comes down, I'm alone at the bar.
Yep.
But I don't let it get me down because I'm the last honky tonk hero in town. And so I wrote the shell of that song. And then I called up Ted and I said, I got something, but we need to work on it. I need your help with this. It took me about 15 minutes to write the initial song. It just came to me. Mm-hmm. And then I went to Ted's a week later and we sat down, and inside of 30 minutes, we wrote this song complete, soup to nuts. Went back to the rest of the band, shared the song with them, And guitar player Kevin Fosmark goes, you do realize that that's what you have to name the record now. And I'm like, shit, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay. But it was a great writing experience. It was actually the second full song that Ted and I wrote together. The first was for one of his records. He called me up and he said, hey, I'm really stuck on this song. Can I send you my roughs? And maybe you can help with some lyrics and some changes. And so I went through it. And a week later, I sent him back this thing. And then we got together and we wrote the song.
Mhm.
And for the last Honky Tonk Hero, I thought, well, shit, that works so well for an upcoming record for Ted's. I'm like, man, I want to recreate that magic.
Yeah.
Can we get together? Can we write this song? And I swear to God, in 27 minutes, we looked at each other and just started laughing. Like we just wrote one of the greatest songs we ever wrote in 27 minutes.
Well, Dawson, let me ask you this, being the Ted Russell Camp stalker that you were, and having him call you and say, I need help on one of my songs. I mean, what's your initial reaction? Are you like, really? Me?
My initial reaction was I was flattered. Yes, there was a bit of really. There was a moment where I'm like, does he know who I am? Why is he asking me?
Yeah.
So yeah, there was a lot of that. It was a thrill. I actually called my mom that day after I got the call from Ted. And I'm like, Mom, I got a call from this guy who wants to write songs with me. He asked for my input.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we wrote this song called Miracle Mile. And it's really good. It'll be coming out on a forthcoming Ted Russell Camp record. And so, as you know, Izzy, I'm very busy. You're very busy. We each have 10,000 jobs.
Yep.
If you want to make it in entertainment, in music, in rock and roll, you're not going to have one job.
Right.
You're hustling.
Yep. And you are going to drop everything on a dime when it's time to make that entertainment magic happen.
Exactly.
When it's time to rehearse, you have to go. There's
very little time. It's not like I can stop the world and just start writing a song. So, I thought about it for a week, and then it was approaching, late in the afternoon on day 5, and I hadn't come back with Ted for anything. And then I'm like, okay, time to sit down, give this an hour, see what you can do. And then I wrote out this big thing to Ted, just saying, okay, so I love this. I would change this lyric to this. And I feel a bridge. Hear me out. Here's where I'm going with the bridge, because here's where I see the song going. If you don't agree, let me know. No problem. But this is what I'm feeling based on what you sent. And he was like, yes, I love it. Moving forward, let's do it. And so with the last Honky Tonk Hero, it's almost like I don't want to say returned the favor.
Yeah.
Because he did me a bigger favor than I did him.
Right.
But if you, and I'm telling you, man, when you find somebody that you can write songs with, hold that person, hold them tight, and never let them go, and continue to write songs.
So that's why I'm in the band, because we wrote a song together, which we're working.
It will be on the next Smokin' Kills record.
It will.
It is a goddamn good song. I played it for Kinky Friedman.
Oh, that's right. That's right. And that's an amazing fucking segue, because that's exactly where I was going. And I was just going to say, speaking of Honky Tonk Heroes, you have the what's the word I'm looking for?
Pleasure.
Yes. Thank you. That's exactly what I was looking for.
Privilege.
Yes, absolutely.
Enormous, fortunate opportunity.
Yes. Be careful with the word privilege in these day and ages.
Sure. My bad. I didn't mean to trigger
you. I'm awful clamped. You get to work with the great Kinky Friedman. You are voicing all of his audiobooks.
Yeah.
Now, Kinky, if you're not familiar with Kinky Friedman, which you should be, he's an old school outlaw country guy.
He is one of the original outlaws.
Yeah.
Kinky would, when you think of the outlaw country scene, you think of Waylon Willie, obviously, first of all. I think of Chris Christopherson, Johnny Cash, Merle Haggard.
Yep. But Dawson, really quick, on that thought, I was at Walmart yesterday and I was looking through the records and I saw now this is what they call outlaw country on vinyl. And one of the songs is Poncho and
Poncho and Lefty. I have that record. I have that record on vinyl. And yes, it's like a thrift store find. But I think I just figured out why you're single, Izzy. You never lead a sentence with, so I was at Walmart the other day.
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
But that's exactly where I was.
I know. Hey, you're a truth teller, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And sometimes I let the fucking toenails go just enough to look like talons. So when I wear my flip-flops, I fit in at Walmart.
Smart.
Yeah. So Kinky Friedman.
That's just good science.
It's science. So Kinky Friedman, one of the original fucking outlaw country guys. Now, this is the cool thing that the books that you're reading for him, that's not autobiographies. That's like
detective
novels that he writes.
But they're written in the first person as Detective Kinky Friedman. Except it's not amazing. Detective Kinky Friedman. In these books that are Sherlock Holmesian.
Okay.
Kinky solves a murder that happens in Greenwich Village in the early 1980s. That's where all of them are set, in the fucking 80s to the mid 80s. Greenwich Village was a very different place. It was the gay mecca of New York. And his first book is about gay people who are getting killed. Maybe it's not. I haven't read it in a while. I read it once. I released the audiobook. But that doesn't have anything to do with it. But Kinky is the Jewish cowboy. He called himself the Texas Jew boy. And think about trying to fit in. I mean, my hat's off to that guy.
Yeah.
I love Kinky Friedman. And so, he wrote very, very Sherlock Holmesian novels where he's the one who solves the crime. And he wrote 20 of them. Now, I met Kinky about 5 years ago, and we became fast friends. And since audiobooks is one of the things I do, I told Kinky, I'm like, look, man, this is all contract-free shit. When you wrote these books, they didn't know what audiobooks were.
Right. So these are old books. These are
old books.
This isn't stuff he's like writing now. This is like old. These have been out forever.
He has published something like 23 books.
Holy shit.
20 of them are detective novels.
Damn.
The Sherlock Holmes stuff. So I made a deal with Kinky that I would do all 20 of the detective novels. I finished my second a few weeks ago. Kinky is reading. He rewrote forwards to these books. So I sent Kinky a Rode microphone.
Nice.
Not a microphone you use on the road, an RODE microphone. And we set him up in his studio in San Antone, and he rewrote forwards to these books, and then he reads them, and then that's the, first chapter. So you hear Kinky's voice, but then I get to be Kinky Friedman for the next 6 hours.
You know how I can tell you're a honky tonk hero? You said it, San Antone.
Oh, it's always San Antonio. Here's one thing you'll never hear me say. And I'm just going to spell it now. C-A-L-I. The state is California. Act like an adult. Do not say C-A-L-I. It's the quickest way to never be my friend.
Yeah, you know what really annoys me is people that have, when you say San Fran, they go, dude, it's SF. It's like, fuck you.
Yeah, it's Frisco. You're both wrong.
That too. Yeah, Frisco, or San Diego. Dude, it's SG. Fuck, eat my ass.
Right.
Oh, wait. I gotta be
hey, look, I'm all for brevity and the economy of work. The less syllables, the better. I live longer.
Right.
San Diego, 3 syllables. SD, 2. I got no problem with it.
Yeah, no, I get it. It just little shit like that annoys me.
But Frisco is also 2 syllables.
Yeah.
SF is 2 syllables.
Correct.
San Fran is childish.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm not from here.
That's all right. I'm a 5th generation Californian. I have strong feelings about this state.
Exactly. Update. Overtime is starting as we speak in Montreal. Go Habs. Dawson, we're going to get back on track here in a second. So the Islanders end up winning that game last night in overtime.
Okay, good.
Which means there's a game 7, but that crowd in New York was unfucking believable. It's like, it was so cool. It couldn't have been real. That was like a night after WrestleMania crowd.
Nice.
It was just insane. Anyways, so sorry, I just had to get that in there. Oh yeah, Lori says, I got a couple comments here. Lori says, if I had money, I'd support you all. Fuck, I need a job. Sledgehammer says, me and Lori want to be your roadies. We'll set up all that gear and make coffee.
Where are you guys at? We'll build a tour around it.
Sledgehammer,
around you guys.
Lori is
carrying our gear.
Lori's in Brisbane, Australia.
Oh, please. I'm sponsored by Rode Microphones, and they are in Melbourne.
Oh, fuck yeah.
So
I smell an Australian tour with Australian supermodels for me. Sledge, I think, is in Wisconsin, I believe. And there's a good chance.
Trying to get at Mile of Music in Madison.
Oh, nice.
We'll probably get there next year.
And he also says, I love Sherlock Holmes. To write them, I think you have to reverse engineer them. Wow, that's an interesting thought.
Great question. That would be something that I would like to ask Kinky, because this second book that I just finished, he brings in artists like Larry Campbell, the Flying Burrito Brothers.
Oh, wow.
All these people who are doing, they're all a part of the book. It's almost like real life. It's a snapshot of Kinky's world in New York City in 1983. It's amazing.
Wow, that's fucking great. Going to Twitter, and this is why I love doing this live, even though Mr. Owens doesn't know that we are live right now. He says, at Real Izzy Presley, that's my Twitter if you're curious. When you have at Dos Angeles, that is Dawson's Twitter, if you're curious, on the effing show, would you ask him if he ever found a tree to climb that he could call his own?
Come on. All that's telling me, my friend, is you're a fan of the music and you own the first record. And I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
There you go. See, I didn't even get that.
There's a song I wrote back when I was in college, and it's on my first record. And it's most of my songs back then were about trains, women, and alcohol. And this one was kind of a combination of all three. But it's called When I Get Home. And it's I'm standing in the backyard waiting for a train to you. No, looking for a tree to climb. Sorry.
Okay.
But you say that these belong to you. I better look for mine. And it was, I'm an alliteration fan. The lyrics don't have to make as much sense, but through alliteration, I think that's where the best songwriting magic happens.
Oh, I agree. I absolutely agree. Yeah, it's like, well,
so the answer is no. I haven't found my tree to climb yet, but I'm still looking.
Yeah,
And
but
yes, a tree is a woman. Thank you.
I was gonna say, are we talking when you find that tree? That's the one you're gonna hang yourself from.
It's all subjective, my friend. It's called art. And
like it.
whatever you get out of it makes me happy.
Oh shit, it is over. My God, King, it's over. Montreal has knocked out the Golden Knights, King.
Good.
Yes. Fuck the Vegas Knights. Montreal
Good, but-
Canadiens, for the first time in 26 years, are going to the Stanley Cup final. Hell yeah. Anyways.
Good. Because I'm a firm believer that hockey does not belong in places where it doesn't snow. I love hockey and I love the spread of hockey, and I'm fine with that. But I grew up in the Bay Area, and the San Jose Sharks were one of the earlier the first expansion
93
teams. They were probably the first expansion teams. I'm like, you guys are in San Jose.
Yeah, but you know what? They really grabbed onto that team.
They did.
That town grabbed onto that team, and they support that team to the fucking nuts, and bless them for it.
It's fine, but I want to see Canadian teams. I want to see the New York Rangers. I want to see the Islanders.
The Islanders, dude. If we get an Islanders fucking Habs final, I am gonna be the happiest motherfucker in the world, because fuck the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah.
And
the Canucks. That's just like they're like the Yankees of Canada.
Well, actually, the Canadians are like the Yankees of Canada.
Yeah, whatever, dude. You're confusing me now. Tried to make a point.
Yeah, but you were wrong. I'm sorry.
I was wrong. That's all right.
It's hockey. Yeah, you're learning. It's all good. You know what, dude? We could talk about Carolla, but you do that in every single interview you ever fucking do.
I got no problem, dude. Give me one question. What do you think people want to know about working for Adam Carolla?
And this is something that we've discussed. Are you worried in any way that Adam's opinions and Adam's view might affect your career as far as jobs and as far as gigs and the getting booked for audiobooks or acting roles or whatever?
This is and here comes Izzy Presley with the toughest Adam Carolla question ever, and here's the answer. I do believe that my association with Adam has cost me some jobs, but it's money I never knew I had, and it's money I never care about. Adam Carolla is one of the most generous and loyal human beings I have ever met and had the pleasure to work for in my life. I have been with Adam for 15 years, and I love that man. And I don't care if you're going to not hire me for my skill because of something I cannot control.
Mm-hmm.
That's on you.
Yep.
Go ahead. There's thousands of voiceover people out there.
Yeah.
Go find one.
Yeah.
I don't want to work for you.
Exactly. And that, I think that's the best fucking answer you could give. Absolutely, dude. I mean, it's the best 10 middle fingers ever.
All 10.
And that's the one thing that I do really respect about Adam is his loyalty to his guys.
I think he's also one of the smartest people I have ever met in my life. And, I was raised that you got to go to college. And Michael, you're not going to state school. You're going to the University of California. And I did all that. And then here's this guy who barely finished high school. And he's the smartest guy I know.
Yeah. Yeah. And very successful, smart guy who barely finished high school.
Well, he used to say this thing on air that he started out as a joke, but it's become real. Like back in the day when you saw Rolls Royce roll down the street, you were like, man, that guy's done something right.
Yep.
I want to learn about that and be like him. And nowadays, you see a Rolls Royce rolling down the street, people want to throw rocks at it. Fuck you.
Yeah.
We live in the greatest country in the world.
Yep.
You are free to do whatever you want to do. Do it. Stop
Absolutely.
complaining.
Absolutely. Speaking of Carolla, okay, now this is Dawson. I don't know if you know this tradition in hockey at all. So they are being presented with the
Watching
trophy.
this as you're saying
Yep,
it.
they're being presented with the trophy for their conference. And the tradition is that if you touch the trophy, you will lose the Stanley Cup final. So this is always, it's not tradition. It's like, it's lore. It's let's see.
An urban legend. Yeah.
Urban legend.
Right.
To
So
see,
no one is going to touch the trophy.
We're going to see. Is he going to touch it? No, he is not.
Nope.
No, he's not. They're going to take the picture with it. They are not going to touch the trophy. And here's a funny story about that. So we had the Minnesota North Stars, and they lost in '91. They lost the Stanley Cup final. And there's a guy, when I used to cover the Minnesota Wild, he worked up in the press box. He worked with the press, and super nice guy. And he used to work for the North Stars. And he told me, and I wrote a story about this once, and I kept his name out because I didn't want to out him. That he feels like he jinxed the North Stars.
He touched it.
He kissed the Stanley Cup before Game 6.
Dumbass.
Yeah. And they lost Game 6, and it was over.
Well, there you go.
He feels like he is the reason that they lost the '91 Stanley Cup.
Welcome back to Honky Talk with Izzy Presley.
You didn't think we'd be going here, did you?
I was prepared. I knew it was coming.
Oh, of course. Lori says, sweet, I'm going to have to catch up on my triangle skills so I can make an appearance spot on stage when you guys play.
Tambo, Lori.
Tambourine. But no, that's only for like white chicks though. White chicks is the tambourine thing. Lori's a dude.
Oh.
And he looks like Shrek.
Ooh. We'll have to think.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Think about that. I don't know if I can let you in the band.
So speaking of Carolla, me and you have been off and on. We listen to Casey Kasem all the time. And
he's a hero.
Exactly. We do spot Casey Kasem podcasts. Here and there we've published one. Carolla just had on Casey's daughter, Carrie Kasem. What was it like meeting her? What was it like talking to her, and obviously hearing the story? And
well, I met Carrie Kasem back in 2006 for the first time when I got the gig with Carolla when he replaced Stern. Not replaced, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I thought I had gotten a look from her. So I was talking to people. I'm like, hey, man, what's up with Carrie Kasem?
So this is like a Lisa Loeb story?
Kind of. And one of the guys I worked with just kind of starts laughing and goes, did you see her? She only dates rich guys. Like, well, maybe she wants to slum it for a while. I'm cool with that. I don't get jealous. I'm cool with that. Anyway, we had Carrie Kasem back on the show a few days ago, and it was one of the most emotional interviews that I ever sat through. For people who don't know, Casey Kasem, the host of America's Top 40 Countdown, for 39 years, by the way, 39 years, he hosted the Top 40 Countdown. He remarried at one point, when the kids were young, and essentially had this plan that she was going to take everything of Casey's and alienate the family, and this is a major problem for a lot of people around the world, especially in America, is people taking advantage of old people.
Yeah.
And cutting out the kids, and the evil that this woman did, according to Carrie Kasem, and I believe her,
Yeah.
was absolutely disgusting. So I was totally enthralled by this interview. And after the interview was over, knowing what you and I know about Casey, our experience with Casey and doing the podcast, and a lot of times we'll be hanging out here and we'll just kind of look at each other and be like, should we throw on a Casey? And on iHeartRadio, there's a channel at any time, 24 hours a day. You want to listen to a top 40 countdown, you can do it. And we do that often. So I love the man.
Yeah.
And when the interview was over, I went up to Carrie Kasem and I said, thank you very much for sharing. I can't imagine what you're going through. But want you to know I feel you and I got your back. And I said to her, I met your father once. And she, really? Tell me about that. Well, it's back at the Getty Center. It was some kind of radio thing, and your father was one of the speakers, and I was just a 25-year-old snot DJ kid with big dreams and bigger balls. And I was introduced to your father, and I said this, and I said exactly that to her. And I said, now I'm not proud of this. Not proud of this. I still feel like an asshole. In fact, still right now, I'm getting that really weird feeling. This is what I said to Casey Kasem. I put my arm around him and I said, I got my first job in radio, board opping your show at 6 a.m. every damn Sunday. You son of a bitch. And Casey Kasem was the most gracious person in the world. You know what he did? He put his arm on my shoulder and he said, Mike, if you only knew how many people say that to me.
Well, yeah, but you've told me that story before, obviously. But that's the reaction, is like, he takes that with a grain of salt. He doesn't take that as a fuck you. He takes that as a,
well, I meant it.
Yeah, exactly. He took
I meant it as a, hey man, I love you. Thank you.
Exactly.
But for some reason, the way I delivered it to him is fuck you, Casey. I'm better than you.
Yeah. Well, I think
I still cringe when I think of that story.
I still think maybe you just have that in your head, that because
maybe he liked it.
I'm sure he did, because like he said, you're not the first person that's ever said that to him. But I mean, shit, it's like,
I haven't met Jim Brickman yet, but his show started at 5 a.m. on Saturday morning, and that was also my first job. So when I meet Jim Brickman, I'm going to talk to him about Jim Brickman's weekend morning, and I'm not going to stop at son of a bitch. I'm going to go, you fucking piece of shit. My first job was board opping your show at 5 a.m. on Saturday mornings. Fuck you, Jim Brickman. And I got to do that as a tribute to Casey.
Of course. Absolutely. I mean, you have a long history in radio. Do you miss radio?
Yes, very much.
Even the way the radio is now?
See, here's the thing about how radio is now. I went through the whole thing. My first radio job, we were locally owned.
Yeah.
In fact, the guy who owned the first radio station that I worked at in Santa Barbara was one of the legendary broadcasters from KMET and KLOS in Los Angeles. He was one of those first starting radio guys. A year and a half into my radio career, we got bought by J-Corps. J-Corps became Clear Channel and bought up everything. And the worst thing that they did was they deleted the farm. There used to be a thing called the farm, and it's much like AAA baseball. You learn how to play in the big leagues. They keep you on deck. And then when somebody dies or quits or is sick, that's when you get your shot and you're on the air.
Mhm.
When Clear Channel Communications came about, they started this intercombined network of all of these radio stations that are now connected digitally so that a dude in Fresno can do a show in Bakersfield from Fresno. And so then what you get is this major consolidation where there's one DJ and he works for 15 radio stations.
Yep.
And you lose locality.
Yep.
That was the death of radio. Radio will never die because one, radio is free, and two, there are creative people out there who will keep it alive. When the Clear Channels and the intercoms and all of the radio conglomerates start losing enough money, they're going to return the local frequencies to the local markets, and radio will rise again. And it's going to work out perfectly for people like me and you, Izzy, because by the time it turns around, we'll be hitting like 52, 53, and we can just go into any town in America, walk into their radio station and go, well, I'm here.
Yep. You realize that's just in a couple of years, right?
Yeah. No, I know. I didn't want to age myself, but thanks for doing it.
Hey, yeah, well, fuck, I'm older than you, so all 10. It's fucking great. All right, Dawson, we're almost at an hour and a half. We could keep going all night. You're at Los Angeles, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And,
That's right.
The Smokin Kills. It's
I would also
Kills.
I would also like to promote the fact that I do another podcast, another fucking podcast.
There you go.
Besides another fucking podcast, a group of us who work for Adam Carolla on a daily basis get together twice a week. And if you like a podcast about absolutely nothing and just people having a good time and talking about the weird shit that you always thought about, but you never really talked about, check out a podcast called The Water Cooler.
Yes, absolutely.
We record it at Carolla Digital. It's all the guys behind the scenes. We get into some Carolla stuff, but essentially it's 5 dudes talking nonsense, and you've never laughed harder in your life. It's called The Water Cooler. Check it out.
Yeah, it's a great show. Then Smokin Kills, we've got the 10th in El Segundo. We've got the 23rd in Austin.
We also have the next single, another Southern California.
Ooh,
will be released on June 28th, just in time for you to blast it for the 4th of July.
Okay.
Play it, share it, play it is the most important thing. And then the full album, The Last Honky Tonk Hero, will be released on August 25th, and nothing is going to stop us. All the information is at thesmokinkills.com and on social media, the Smokin, no apostrophe, kills.com.
Absolutely. And well, here, let me ask you this, Dawson, as we go out, it won't be on the video part of the show, but if you had to play one song off the album right now that you can play, it's your album. You can do whatever you want. Which song would you play, and can I play it?
I say let's go out with another Southern California, because it's going to be released next week.
I like it.
It's a really good intro to what we do.
I fucking love it. All right,
in the band. This is a tribute to Southern rock.
All right, let me get this pulled up. And at this point on the video, you are hearing the outro music, which is the Black Diamond. You are not hearing it on the live audio stream or the other audio stream because I am getting into this in just 1 second. Make sure you guys hit up all the social media at Real Izzy Presley all the way across the board, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And of course, the show page is another podcast. And Sledgehammer says, I like this guy. Definitely should get a recurring role on the show.
I have one.
Yeah.
I read Bible verses.
Yes, absolutely. But Dawson, you know, you're welcome at any time.
I know. I love you, man.
I love you too. And sure we'll probably have beers later because, you know, that is what happens.
Roll over.
So next week, we are going to be pre-recorded. Not sure exactly who the guest is, but Lori says he's going to grab his triangle. So Dawson, you want to introduce the song?
Yeah, this is a tribute to Southern rock as only we could do it. This is a song I wrote when I left Santa Barbara and moved to San Diego and realized it's just another Southern California.
You want to do it in radio guy voice?
We're back inside a superset of California Southern rock on another fucking podcast. Want to thank Izzy Presley for joining us today and having on a special guest, me. Now, for your listening pleasure, my friends, let's crank this up to 12. This is the Smokin' Kills in another Southern California on another fucking podcast.